Hello, welcome back to my channel. Today I'm going to be showing you some of these gel polishes and we're going to do some layered stamping. This is the latest kit that Born Pretty sent to me to try out. These colors are absolutely gorgeous. They're on white swatch sticks because I was slacking and I ran out of my usual swatch sticks, so those just had to do, but the colors are still beautiful as you'll see when I put them on. Now I wanted to show y'all some of the fall plates that I had. These plates are from Clear Jelly Stamper. They are for layered stamping, but you can also use these multiple ways. You can use them as the layered, as it shows. You can use the images, just the outline, and you can reverse stamp, which is color in the back. You can also use them however you want. You don't necessarily have to do what it says on the stamping thing to do. Like, these are just showing color suggestions and ways to put things together and whatever, but you can use anything you want for however you want. So today I am going to use the first plate that I showed. I just wanted to show y'all a couple of different plates that I had that I like to play with for fall. But first things first, we are going to start with polishing the nails. I'm going to use a jelly polish, a jelly gel polish. It's a pink nude color. It is one of my favorite nudes. It gives you like the perfect, just natural color, natural like soft pink color over like your nails or your extensions or whatever. I'm wearing some medium almond BTArtbox milky white tips, and all I have on it is a white sparkle gel top coat. And I didn't really want that to be the color underneath the scarecrow that I was going to put on this nail. So I decided to just put a soft pink over it just to cut out the sparkle so that I didn't have that on the nail when I was going to stamp. Then I just knew I had to use this burgundy color. I think this is like top behind a burnt orange. This is like one of my favorite colors, almost like a brick red burgundy color. I love fall colors. I changed my matte background that I do my nails on. I love fall, and now the leaves are really starting to fall all the time here. I mean, my yard is mainly pine trees, but in my neighborhood is like a secluded neighborhood, and there are lots of trees everywhere. And when we go on walks, when I go on walks with my kids, we are loving seeing all the leaf piles and all the leaves falling and all the acorns. They're just loving it. So I am so excited to be using fall colors. Now that I've rambled on, let's get back to what I'm doing. So I'm using my non-dominant hand to paint these on, and it's been a little bit since I've done a gel mani on this hand. It's been about a week or so since I've done one. So I'm not really good with my non-dominant hand as it is, but if I go a long time, or not, that's not a long time, but if I go a good week without using that hand, it takes a minute to get back into the rhythm of doing my nails with that hand. So always want to be careful when if you get any gel polish on your skin, you want to clean it off immediately like I did. I took an orange wood stick and I dipped it in a little bit of alcohol, and I just cleaned up the edges so that it didn't sit on my skin while I was doing all of my nails. This color is gorgeous. It is like the perfect fall color. Like, when I think of fall, I think of like these colors. Like this yellow, it's like a yellow orange. Like, it wants to be yellow, but it wants to be orange, but it's neither one. It's like a yellow orange. It's so pretty. I don't necessarily go for yellows or yellow toned oranges just because those just aren't really flattering on my skin tone. If I don't have a tan, I'm more on the pale side of things. But this color, I just stood out to me. I loved it, so it had to go in the set, right? It's fall. I made the set big kind of fall. It fit with the scarecrow theme that I was going for this one. So I went ahead and I did this orange, and then I used brown, because for me brown is like a staple fall color. And if you can see on my other hand, if you notice on my other hand what I did with that one, it's pretty much the same colors. I don't know, I'm addicted to fall colors. And brown, red, yellow, orange, just love them. I love them all together. I don't like to limit myself by just using one color. So I generally like to use at least 3 colors in a mani when I'm doing one. One color, I really try to do one color as often as I can, just to showcase colors themselves. But I have a really hard time with that because some colors just need a partner and they look so good together. So as y'all see, these colors are pretty opaque. They do have a white base, so that's kind of cheating, I guess you could say. It gives it like a pop already, an instant pop with just like the color of the tips themselves. But you can really tell how opaque they are with just the one layer. They are definitely a little sheer, but with 2 layers, which is what I do always on my gel polish, I get that full coverage that I like. So I'm just using this first layer to kind of show y'all the colors, how they look, how they're applying, how everything is just so smooth and self-leveling, and just what the colors look like. I don't really like to show my second layer on camera just because it's kind of repetitive and you kind of already see. But here is the second layer with 2 layers. It just gives it that rich color. And then I decided, if I'm already using 4 colors, why not just go all Skittles and make it a completely separate color? Now this color is not one that I would ever really grab, but I decided I wanted to try it. It is like a color of hay. So when I think of like going on a hay ride, this is like the color that I think of. Or a hay barrel out in the field, which I see often because I live semi in the country. It's like right on the border of the country and the city. So lots of farms, lots of animals, lots of hay. So this is like a hay bale color to me. So I wanted to try it out, and I really ended up actually loving it. I usually put the color that I love the most on my thumb because it's the finger that's pointed towards me the most. So it's the color that I see the most. But I wanted to try out something different, and I actually didn't put anything on it. I stamped 3 nails, and I left this one plain because I was really liking the look of it just plain. So when it comes to painting with your non-dominant hand, you want to go very slow. Like, it may seem that I'm going at normal pace, but I sped up the painting part like 3 times, or like a times 3, because I go very slow. All right, so here we are, all finished 2 coats. What I like to use when I am stamping is Outshine. I like to put this top coat on before I do stamping because this will grab the polish off and you don't need a sticky base. If you're having trouble stamping, I suggest getting that Outshine top coat because it is my absolute favorite top coat for stamping. Just, if you are having trouble, just try it out. I used to have trouble stamping and I got that top coat and I've had no trouble since then. All right, moving along. I'm going to be doing the scarecrow, but I wanted to show you what layered stamping means. So you see how it's got, the other scarecrow had the 4 parts, and then it shows you this one has 4 parts as well. Just the head, it shows you to stamp the hat, the hair, the face, and then the outline, which will bring it all together. It really just kind of shows you how to do it. Some of the cards that they provide on the back will actually give you a step-by-step, like this image with this image equals this, but you can do it however you want to do it. If you want to leave some steps out, you can. If you want to do something completely different and you want to reverse stamp, then you can do that. So what I like to do when I'm doing layered stamping is I like to go ahead and pick my colors. I know that I'm going to need 4 colors because the scarecrow that I'm using the full the full body scarecrow. And I know that I wanted to make it kind of match my other nails. So I wanted to use an orange, a brown, like a deep rust color, and I always generally outline in a dark brown or a dark black, unless I'm doing something completely different, but I usually outline in a dark brown or a dark black. And then what I do is I look at the outline and I picture it on what it will look like on the stamping image. And then I lay my polishes out in order. Now I decided I wasn't going to use that brown because it wasn't really what I was feeling like doing. So I was going to outline in that color initially, but then I was just like, you know what? I'm just going to outline in black because I really wanted it to pop. So after I do that, I get all my polishes that I know that I want to use, and then I will set them out in the order that I'm going to use them so that I can just have that thought completely out of my mind and I don't have to worry about that any longer. I just sit them out in the order, make sure that everything is how I like it, and then I go to grab all of the other items that I'm going to use for stamping. So now that I've got all my 4 colors set, I'm going to be going in that order with them. The black, the outline is always last. Then I like to use this stamper. It's a short clear stamper. This is also from Clear Jelly Stamper. It's the short, I have to look up what the name of it is. It's like a monocle stamper, but it's clear, it's short, it allows me to get closer to my nail. I just really like this one. It's my favorite stamper to use. Also, you want to have a protection for your surface. I use the Maniology silicone matte because it is clear, doesn't affect anything. I can see if I get polish on it so I don't get polish everywhere. I like to use a thicker scraper card because it helps me. I really don't like the flimsy ones because it doesn't pull right, it doesn't scrape right for me. And I like to use my little thing you see on the side, but we'll get to that in a second. So I like to shake my polishes, just a habit. I like to make sure that everything is shaken up before I do anything. So I went ahead and shook my polishes up. And I also use a lint roller to clean off all the stamping excess from my stamper. So a lot of places have like sticky stamper stations, or some people use Scotch tape. But I've just found that a lint roller is super cheap. I can get it at the dollar store. Doesn't need to be like a super strength one. It just a regular lint roller works fine. Some people use Scotch tape. Some people use like the tan tape, whatever. But as long as it's sticky, it'll take the excess off. So what you want to do when you're layered stamping is usually you want to use I usually use one stamper for each image. But I wanted to go ahead and just do it one at a time for y'all. So now I'm going to do the shirt and the hat first. I like to personally use enough polish to cover up the design, but sometimes I just put a dab and I scrape it down, and then I pick up in a rolling motion. As you see, I'll roll the opposite way that I picked up, and then I'll use the scraper card to knock off any excess stamping parts that I don't want. And then I always look through the stamper to make sure that the image is all picked up and it's clear and it's okay enough to stamp. And then I go ahead and transfer it to my nail quickly. Now, I really love that top coat that I showed you because it is the perfect stamping top coat, because you don't have to work as fast to stamp it before the polish dries, because even if the polish dries, it will take the polish off the stamper and allow it to be on the nail. So do not worry about having to be super fast. All right, so now I clean off my plate because we are onto the second color. Now the second color I'm going to use is orange, and that's going to be the hair, the hands, and the feet. I decided I wanted to be a ginger, so I mean, there it is. I just decided that I was going to use orange. It just happened to work. And I covered all of the parts like I was saying because I wanted to show you the difference. And it really doesn't make a huge difference except for the fact that I like to, it gives you a little bit more on it. And I don't really like to have a whole lot of extra on my stamper because then you have to take it all off. Otherwise it will get on your nail. Now when you're layering stamping, you want to have something to keep your hands steady and make sure that you go slowly and carefully because you're not putting a top coat in between layers. So if you get it in the wrong place, you have to start all over again. So my only thing with layered stamping is that you just want to go slow, take your time, be careful. Now I noticed that I got a little bit on the foot, so I went ahead and used my cotton ball. So this little this cotton ball picker-upper keeps the acetone from ruining your current nails. So you just dab a cotton ball in some acetone, and then you use the little cotton ball grabber to just wipe off the plate. And I love that because now my nails can stay looking nice while I'm doing the stamping. But one tip that I have for when you're doing any kind of stamping is to make sure that your plate is clean before you start stamping. Now, even a brand new plate, pulling the plastic off, you still want to clean your plate with acetone just because it will get all of the sticky residue and all of the gunk out of the spots of the stamping plate, just so that you know that the plate is clean. Just that is something I suggest. Also, I suggest with a stamper, a brand new stamper, rolling it on the sticky paper before you start stamping, because it will also help pick up your images. That is what I do, and I have found that that really helps if I roll the stamper onto the pad before I stamp. Now, we are on to the outline. So for me, the outline is one of the most important parts. You want to make sure that you're getting a clean pickup on your outline, just because I feel like the outline makes anything, whether you're painting or stamping or whatever, the outline is like super important. It just like brings the whole image together. So you just want to make sure that you're getting off all the excess, as far as like all the excess stamping pieces, parts, colors, anything else that may have picked up, and you only get your image. So I think it was a pretty good pickup on the first try. Like, these are all first try pickups. I did not do anything more than once. Everything is left in I think I sped it up 1.2, but not anything fast at all. And then you just want to lay it down, make sure you line everything up, and then look at how easy that was. We have a little scarecrow. I thought he would turn out really cute. That was my first time stamping the scarecrow, so I figured I would just try it on camera with y'all, because I know y'all wanted to see more stamping, and it's not that hard. I know that sometimes I struggle with stamping, and I know sometimes you probably struggle with stamping, but it's really just one of those things where you just say a prayer before you start and just hope that it's a good stamping day. Because, I mean, I know people that have been stamping for years and they still have days where it does not go right. So the main thing with stamping is really just to keep going and keep trying. And if you mess up, then just try it again. And if you get frustrated, just stop and then pick it up later or another time. Because if you get frustrated with stamping, then you could just start knocking everything over and spilling everything, and it's not healthy. It doesn't make you happy. So that's some advice I would just give. If you can't get it, then just take a break and come back to it. Also, I decided I wasn't sure what I was going to do or what color I was going to use, but I decided that I was going to do that pattern at the bottom. Just a different take on a plaid nail, since I've done a couple of plaid nails already. I've hand painted a plaid, I've used a plaid decal, and now I just decided I was going to stamp plaid, but I wanted it to be a little bit different. So I decided to pull out a new color. This is from one of the recent sub boxes from Maniology, and I love this color. It is so pretty. It's like a bronze. And what I do when I stamp full images like this, I know that this length of nail is not going to take the whole image, but I do the whole image anyway, so that you notice in the bottom corner how there is not any polish right there. But I have the entire rest of the image to use, so it's not a trashed image. So then I want to try to get the angle that I want and get just a lay down. Now, with this specific color, I did not have any problem cleaning up around the cuticle area where it got on my skin. But if I was using a darker color, if I planned on stamping with like a black or a dark brown or dark purple or anything darker, I would use either a latex sticker around my cuticle, or I would use liquid latex, just so that I don't get anything on my skin, because darker colors can be a butt to clean up. They just don't want to clean up, and it can just like ruin the whole mani. I'm just using a little bit of acetone and a flathead brush to clean up the cuticle area. I just don't like to, some people wait until the end and they've top coated, and then what they'll do is they will wash their hands and wash everything off. I just don't like to leave any product on my skin, so I don't like to do that. I know that with this color it was okay and it was easier to clean up, so I really didn't mind that, but usually I don't do that. So just throwing that out there. I usually don't do that. Yeah, see, everything started falling. My kids, so while I'm doing this, my older two kids are doing their homeschool stuff, and they're reading to me and asking me a ton of questions. So sometimes I get really flustered when I'm doing other things and stamping at the same time, but I'm trying to be able to do more. And with homeschooling, we finally got into a good rhythm to where I'm able to do my nails while they are doing their private lessons. And then we reconvene. I give them an hour for private lessons, and then we reconvene and do homework and talk about what we learned afterwards. So during that 1 hour during the day, I like to give myself me time to do something that I enjoy. And sometimes it's not quite as easy since they are there, but I'm trying to do better at that. So with this one, I ended up getting a super, super good pickup, and I was really happy about that. So then I just needed to line up the lines with the other image so that they laid perfectly across so that the plaid design looked the way it was supposed to look. And I'm also using like the bottom part of the image to where I don't get a lot on my skin. As you see, it's just a little bit on the cuticle line. And I feel like that's okay. I just clean it up, since it's a lighter color like I said before. So I didn't really have any problems stamping that or cleaning it up since they were lighter colors. But I know a lot of people have a hard time picking up fine lines with their stamper, and me too. I was actually shocked that I only had to do this part of the design one time. I was so shook, and I told my kids, shh, no more. I'm having a good stamping day. So while I put it on my nail, so I was like, I picked it up great. Y'all have to be quiet so I can lay it down right because I thought it was going to mess up. But now I was like, I'm not sure what I was going to do for the middle nail, but I was like, you know what? I'm going to show something completely different. So like I was saying, you don't have to use the designs for layered stamping. And see, I wanted to show y'all. I left this one in. I thought I was going to use it, but I ended up not using it because of that big hole in the pumpkin. Even though I'm going to put something over it, I just didn't like it. So I got the image off, clean off my plate, just like that. And then I let my plate dry for a few seconds, and then I go right back in. So sometimes that's just all it takes is a second or third try. Just keep trying until you get it. So I put the color on. I scraped twice. I realized I scraped a little bit wonky, and then I went back and re-scraped, and that second pickup was okay. So with this, what I'm going to do, I know that the color is orange, and I know that my nail is orange, so you're probably not going to be able to see it as good as I would like you to see it. But basically, I'm using this as a guide for where I'm going to put the glitter polish, because what I'm going to do is I'm going to clean up the edges. And now I have an outline, basically like a backdrop for where to put the glitter so that when I stamp the outline on top, it will look like my pumpkins are glittery. So I'm going to use a glitter polish from this collection that I showed you in the beginning. It's the orange one with like the holographic glitter. And I'm going to just put a little bit of that on my stamping plate. And I'm going to use a regular liner brush. And I'm going to pick up the polish. And I'm going to put the polish on top of the pumpkins because I don't have a glitter orange stamping polish. And I really wanted the pumpkins to be like glittery. So I know it's super hard to see, but all I'm doing right now is I'm taking the gel polish and I'm filling in the area where that background of that pumpkin stamped onto the nail. Because what that does is that gives me the exact area for where the outline will cover so that I don't have like sloppy looking glitter pumpkins. Yeah. So I was like, that's something different to show. Because you can do double stamping, which I will be showing soon, which is where you pick up an image like the pumpkins, but then you pick up like a pattern so that the pumpkin will be a pattern, but you don't have to layer it. Lots of different techniques with stamping, and I've been watching lots of different stamping people or videos on people's channels. So I will link some of my favorite channels to watch in the description box for y'all because some of the stuff is just so fun. And you definitely want to make sure after you're done with the gel polish, placing it where you want to fully cure it. I cure for 30 seconds in my lamp because that's what my lamp needs. Also, I realized at this moment that I did not stamp the stems, but that's okay, which is why I always have an extra stamping head out. But I already laid the black polish, and look at that pickup. I was having like the best pickup day for my stamping. So I just set that aside, and then I clean it off because I realized that in the middle between the pumpkins and the outline were the stems. And I'm like, you cannot leave off the stems and the leaves. So I got another stamper. It's the same clear stamper. And I got a green polish, and then I just decided that I was just going to go ahead and just do the green, don't stress. So I do the same thing. I'm a double swiper. Sometimes that's bad, but in this case, in this mani it worked, so I just kept going with the double swiping. Sometimes you only want to swipe once. And then I was having a hard time picking off the polish from the stamper with my card. And yes, here's where everything started falling over. It was a mess. It started to get kind of crazy. It does that near the end. If I try to stamp a few nails, it just gets that way with a lot of colors. So now it's so hard to see because I'm off camera, but I just took off the excess very carefully that I didn't want on my nail. And now I'm going to just go ahead and stamp this part on my nail, which will give it the stems and the leaves and the vines. And it's really kind of hard to see what it is until I do the outline. But once I stamp this color, I'm like, okay, I'm ready right now to just go ahead and put the outline on. And then once I put the outline on, everything just kind of like falls together and it looks really, really good. I mean, I think it looks really good. You don't have to think it looks good, but I thought it looked really good. And it was something different. The pumpkins glowed, or not glowed, but they glittered really, really good, especially in the sun. So if you're wondering why my pinky is matte, I decided that I was going to do a design, and then I decided I didn't want to do a design on my pinky, so I wiped it off and left it matte because I really liked that the pinky being plain kind of gave a different look to the mani. I just liked the 3 fingers to be done just because I felt like it was just too much when I got to after I got done with the middle finger. I was just like, that looks really good by itself. So here is how we are looking. Now, what I'm going to do now is I'm just going to let it dry for a minute, and apparently I did not let it dry long enough because I'm me. As you'll see at the end picture, my scarecrow outline is just like a little bit ruined, but I like to put a smudge-free top coat on top, and I really thought that it was time enough for them to be top coated, but I was totally wrong. You really just want to let them sit. Like stamping, especially with black, is, I don't know. It makes it look really good, but you really gotta let it dry. Because when I started swiping, I was just like, well, it's gonna be what it's gonna be, because it was dry enough, but it wasn't dry all the way. So I could kind of see the swipes of the polish. I didn't float it over good enough. I swiped too hard on my nail. And then I don't even know why I thought that the middle finger was going to be ready after I just got done with it. But I went in and went ahead and put the smudge-free top coat on top of it. And as I did that, I realized that I was swiping the color and stuff was getting in it. And the mani started to go like really wrong. But this is just so like it's a protective layer for me. I don't leave the smudge-free top coat as like my official top coat. It's just so that when I put my gel top coat on top of this, that it doesn't mess anything up. So after I cleaned off all the whatever was in the smudge-free top coat, I decided that it was time to go ahead and gel base coat and gel top coat everything. And then ultimately the mani turned out fine. I really liked my scarecrow. That was my favorite part. And I really liked the glitter pumpkins. But I decided to leave the pinky plain just because I felt like it looked really nice. I really hope that y'all enjoyed the layered stamping, doing the pumpkins together. I really hope you guys enjoyed the video of stamping. I do have more stamping videos coming up. But if y'all have any questions, as always, you can leave them in the description box. No, you cannot. Only I can do that. You can leave them in the comments section and I will get to you with a response as soon as I can. Thank y'all so much for spending some of your time with me. I really do appreciate you guys watching the videos, liking the videos, maybe consider subscribing. But I hope y'all have a wonderful rest of your day, and I will catch y'all on the next one.